Hi, I'm Lisa Leiter. In Chicago Business Today, ShoreBank. ShoreBank could be closer to failing. The Southside Bank, which specializes in lending money to low-income communities, reportedly has failed to win $75 million of federal bailout funds. ShoreBank raised more than $145 million back in May from General Electric and banks like Goldman Sachs and JPMorgan Chase, but that money was contingent on the federal funding. The money is slated to be returned to investors today unless ShoreBank can come up with another plan. Crain senior reporter Steve Daniels has been following the ShoreBank story, and we sat down to talk about it. So Steve, ShoreBank is under regulatory orders to raise more capital after those bad real estate loans led to big losses. Now, they've already raised $145 million from these banks, but that doesn't seem to be enough for the regulators, right?
That's not enough. The federal bailout portion of this was not going to be forthcoming. There's talk of some sort of a plan B, but that plan B is not going to involve putting more private money into the bank.
Okay, so now that federal bailout money seems unlikely, what are some of the options for Plan B?
Well, none of them are very good, and it would appear at least that all of them probably involve going through the FDIC's liquidation or failure process. The key question is what's going to emerge on the other side of that? Is there going to be a ShoreBank after it goes through a failure process, assuming there's not some last-minute intervention here?
And what about the chances for a last-minute intervention? What are your sources saying?
I don't think there's very good chance for a last-minute intervention.
So if they do go into receivership, then what? Who buys them?
That's a very good question. Now, it's quite possible that this group could buy them, after maybe a period of time in which the FDIC holds on to the bank in what is called a bridge bank and takes on and disposes of or maybe isolates some of the bad loans and then sells the healthy portion of the bank, perhaps to this group with this same management. The other possibility is somebody could come in the auction process that's interested and scoop up the assets in that fashion.
Sure, absolutely. And the ShoreBank brand definitely carries some weight, right? So there might be some effort to retain it.
I think so. I mean, normally in an FDIC failure process, the brand goes away. This is a very unusual situation, and it's possible that the ShoreBank brand, maybe even better than possible, that the ShoreBank brand could continue after a failure.
Well, you said political hot potato, I have to ask. Now, the White House has denied any role in the potential rescue of ShoreBank, but how much have politics really played a role in this story?
Well, they played a big role in the story. I mean, in the sense that congressional Republicans have made a big issue out of exactly what prompted Goldman Sachs and big Wall Street banks like that to take such interest in this little community bank in Chicago. There's a lot of scrutiny on whatever happens, and that's going to affect how the various regulators act in this process.
So what happens next?
Well, what happens next is there has to be a decision to pull the plug on this process and just go forward into receivership or do whatever needs to be done along those lines. David Vitale is the former First Chicago executive who now is trying to shepherd this solution for ShoreBank. He's a capital markets guy. This is what he used to do. There could be some creative things that we're just not aware of that perhaps are in the works.
Okay, Steve, well, this will definitely be a story to watch. Thanks for joining us today.
Sure.
And that's this edition of Chicago Business Today. For more on this story, be sure to stay with chicagobusiness.com. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday.